being called an Amaret by him.
Yeah.
By Rabbi Yankel Drillman?
Yeah. He's my classmate. Yeah.
Taka?
Yeah, we're the same age. Yeah.
I mean, was he a mad genius then too, or he only developed it later?
I mean, we didn't know much, what genius was until later on in his career,
Yeah, I hear. Okay, since we haven't done official Musar, we're waiting for the island to get on, we might as well do a little. Right, so we started Hilchos Lashon Hara at least twice. And we said, last thing we said was that somebody who talks Lashon Hara is worse than a Ganav and a Noyef, because they're going after their Hana. Right? And Lashon Hara is not such Hana. Right? Lashon Hara is shakil for the same as Avodah Zarah, Gilei Arayos, and Shvichas Damim. V'davar zeh tamam me'od, and that's a palace. Sheshkula Lashon Hara keneged Elo Averos. Lashon Hara is the equivalent of the big three. Kol achas men Yarek Val Yavar, and on all three of them it's Yarek Val Yavar, right? Which it's interesting because then you have a kasha. So why isn't Lashon Hara Yarek Val Yavar? So we had that in Toisus in Sotah, right? A couple last week, that we said that if you're Mavayish, maybe it was 2 weeks ago, right, from Yehuda and Tamar. That's how do we know that if you rather to die than to embarrass somebody because Tamar didn't embarrass Yehuda? So Toisus asks, why are you not mechuyev to die before embarrassing somebody? Right? So that was Toisus kasha. I don't know why nobody asks it about Lashon Hara.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Meaning anybody who's kaifer it is as if you kaifer the concept of Lashon Hara, so you kaifer the whole entire Torah.
Yes.
Right? And right? And a mummer to Avodah Zarah. I'm sorry, if you mummer to Avodah Zarah, you're a mummer l'chol Torah kula. Okay, this is too long. Okay, we'll pick that up again. Bottom line is that saying Lashon Hara is like doing the Shalosh Averos Chaburos. So that's not a good thing. That is not a good thing. Yeah, we're all in agreement with that. Okay. So
David, you took a shave during Sfira? I can't believe it.
Yeah, let me tell you.
Rabbi Stein said we should.
I never thought that I would be so happy to come a Shabbos that, okay, we're done with Birchas Eilanos and shaving today. I tell you. I mean, although Birchas Eilanos will continue, I know Motzei Shabbos Sunday, they're going to start with, can I still do it? I missed it. I saw a half a tree. I saw a quarter of a tree. There were shilos today, banana trees, blueberry, what else? Yeah.
And do you answer anyone that you don't do it?
Only one guy. One guy was hacking me about it. I said, "Hey, buddy, it's not negaya to me. I don't do it at all." He's like, "What?"
Yeah, I didn't ask you one question. I followed your thing. I didn't do it. That's it.
That was funny. That's one of the examples of the block 2 days ago. Somebody who's considered a jerk is somebody who paskins lakula for himself and lachuma for everybody else. I was thinking, but I'm not telling. I never told anybody they should make Birchas Eilanos. I'm answering according to the way they're asking.
It was fire of Yaakov. So last Shabbos at Monsey, so we were walking home from shul, and my son-in-law was talking to the boys and neighbors about Birchas Eilanos, and I said I'll do it, and then we sat down for the sunnah, and the lightning and thunder started.
Oh, there you go. Okay, so that was a siman min hashamayim, literally, is what you saying?
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I looked at the sugi a little bit in Mishnah Berurah. I cannot figure out at what point that leaves grow and if it's supposed to be a fruit, not supposed to be a fruit, what's going to be. I have no idea. It gave me a lot of chizik that I don't make the bracha because I have no idea what the Mishnah Berurah is talking about, at what point you should make it. It's not the regular leaves. It has to be the leaves that will develop into a fruit. Who knows that? Other than Simon. Right? I don't know. Okay, anyways. One other thought, Taka. this week was the Makar for women learning, and it was during the Shiva for Rebitz and David.
Oh,
Right, Ramon, did you think about that one?
very good.
Today, when I saw all the newspapers talking about it, I said, 1 second, we've been huddling for 2 days this week about girls, Mazmanas, they have to learn, right? Interesting. Well,
Yeah,
that
so
one
I
see what
just
Debbie
called
has to say about that one.
I'll ask him. Yeah, I just called my daughter-in-law today because she living me well. My machutin, her father, in one of the pictures in the paper, her father looks exactly like his uncle, mamish, exactly the machutin, yeah. And so I called her to tell her that, and she says, "Yeah, look at the picture." She said, "You don't know what my sister looks like so much, but that's what my sister looked like when she was 10, 12, like Rebitz and David in that picture. That's the exact picture of my sister. My sister looks just like the Rebitz." Yeah.
Wow, interesting. Interesting. Here. Okay, so let's see. So this Mishnah, we're on the Mishnah of Chaf Pez on the base. So this Mishnah is actually a split. There's the first half of the Mishnah, which I wanted to do yesterday, but I got cut short, right? And then there's the rest of the Mishnah. So Reb Shimon Aimer, because we've been saying till now, the assumption from the Gemara till now is that a woman will have schusim, right? She has schusim, she will last. She won't get killed right away from the water. Reb Shimon disagrees with this with some very stark tainas. Reb Shimon Aimer ain't schus toila b'mayim hamorim. There's no schus for the. It was not going to push off the mayim hamorim. B'mata Aimer a schus toila b'mayim hamorim. And if you're going to say that the schus does push it off, mada ata samayim ibnei kol anashim hashoisis, you're going to mada means you're going to weaken it, the water in front of all the nashim that drink it, because all these women are going to say, "I'll drink it. What's a big deal?" Right? What's a big deal? I'll drink it. I have schusim. Right? So
it only lasts for a couple of years. It's not like it lasts forever.
well, I don't see that part. I'm not sure. Maybe
She might have undiscussed them.
we
But
said
didn't
the
we say
maximum was 3 years.
3 years?
We said maximum 3 years, but the main question is, do the women know that? Because maybe they didn't learn Torahs. He didn't tell them that there's a max. Maybe they just told them.
But they know that there's chusim that gets pushed off, but they don't know 3 years.
It seems from here that Reb Shimon is learning that the other Shita, who was it? Not Rebbe, it was, I don't remember who Shita was, that the schus could last. We'll have to see as the Mishnah goes on because there's other taina too. Let's wait and see. But either way, he's saying that women are not going to care because they're going to say they have schusim, which I don't know who's exactly confident about their schusim. That maybe is a different issue. Maybe that's how they got messed up in the first place, that they thought they had schusim. Okay, well, not only that, but you're going to make a bad reputation about the ones that are really mutter, because a woman's going to she drinks it, she walks out scot-free, and everybody's going to say, yeah, it must be because she has schusim, right? She donated a lot of cakes to the bake sale of the shul, right? So Mamela, she has a lot of schusim. So therefore, that's why. So they're going to still think, she's still a minovelis. They're going to say that they're tummy, but she has a schus, right? So that's why Reb Shimon doesn't like it. Fine. So Rebbe has schus toila b'mayim hamorim. So Rebbe is coming to sort of split the opinions. The original opinion, what we learned, was that the schus will be a regular schus, and it doesn't really answer David's question so much, but because he's saying that it only lasts 3 years. But the original
the motzi shemra is because they're gonna say she's tamei, while she might have been tahor the whole time. They don't know that's the motzi shemra. They say, they're totally bezuchusim, so this comes out of motzi shemra because they say, she was tamei, but lamaisa she could have been tahor the whole time. So that's the motzi shemra.
No, correct. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. She probably was, but there's a different question on that. Don't we say that she gets brachas if she survives it? She immediately gets brachas.
It's the Gemara in brachas, yeah.
So wouldn't that be that they'll be able to tell that Shitaka was legit if she gets the brachas? Meaning, if she just walks away and she doesn't get all the brachas, like we said, having kids right away, etc., right?
Well, if she had kids, she'd have more kids. So she's got to wait another 9 months to see what the kids come out like. If she had black kids, now she gets white kids. Then they're gonna have to do some research.
That's
in it.
true,
but
but
it's
no, but
not
saying
right away.
Then. But there's a middle ground there, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Actually, somebody asked me 2 weeks ago if can a woman who wants to have kids, she's having trouble having kids. Did I mention this? He asked me if a woman's having trouble having kids. We mentioned it?
We've thought about it. I don't know. I don't know if we said. I don't know.
That's what Kana did with Shmuel.
No, but you have to go have kino. You have to have kino with somebody. Right?
Well, that's what she said she would do, but she didn't do it because
let's say the woman's having a hard time conceiving. So she says, you know what? I'm gonna go tick off my husband. I'm gonna be meyach with somebody. I'm gonna drink the drink. I know I'm innocent, and then I'll have kids. Right? Can a woman do that perfectly?
And the husband's
Isn't that
in on the
why we
deal?
tell them not to learn to begin with? Because they're going to find these loopholes?
Isn't that
But she did it. No, she makes it with Gamil Rabinovich. She makes a deal with him. She goes with him. She's Messiachid with him.
Yeah.
So she tells him the story.
Yeah, we definitely discussed this. I don't know what we came out with.
Rabbi need a bracha. He does that for her. No?
Could be. I don't know. Would be a weird bracha. But anyways, okay. So Rebbe says somewhere in the middle. Rebbe Amar Schus Talui b'mayim amarim. The Schus is Talui in the mayim. It pushes off the mayim amarim. Ve'ena yeledes, ve'ena mishabechas. She doesn't have kids, but she doesn't have any schusim either. Ella misnavna v'lechas. She starts deteriorating and going l'saiti mesa ba'isa misa, and in the end she dies. So Rebbe's basically saying that the main punishment gets pushed off, but you can immediately see the effects of the water, and that she obviously was guilty, but she has chusim, right? Yeah, but the other shita clearly doesn't hold that. Not the first shita, meaning the original shita that we've been learning till now, it seems, right, to be saying that there's nothing going to happen to her, right? No, actually, no, I'm sorry. We had a machlokes way back when, in the shita of the Rabbanon, if nothing happens to her, meaning she'll blow up all of a sudden, and within the next 3 years, she'll just blow up the way it's supposed to happen, or does something happen to her, just not as extreme as Rebbe? Whatever it is, so those are all the sheets. Fine, that's it. So that's the end of the first part of Mishnah. Bottom line is a machlokes whether the schus lasts for her or not. Right? Then of course you have a hashkafic question. According to Rebbe, she's going to deteriorate like that. So what is there? Clearly, Rebbe holds as a point in living. He gets into the unfortunate to the whole end of life issues, all those type of things. He clearly holds that being alive with all these tzaras is still better than being dead. Right? Less of a punishment, still considered a schus. Yeah, fine. Then when let's say her mincha became tummy. Actually, so remember we said that the way to cover mincha is that she decides to they bring the flour, and they put it into like a wicker basket or some sort of basket made out of palm leaves. Then they take it from that basket, they put it into their standard klei sharis, the utensils of the Beis Hamikdash. Right? Once it goes to the utensil Beis Hamikdash, it becomes mamash a carbon. So if it became tamei when it was still in the basket, it's like any other mincha that became tamei b'tipada, and all you have to do is redeem it, meaning you just swap it out because it doesn't have kedusha yet, because it wasn't yet put into the kalim of the Beis Hamikdash. It's still in her own basket. Once it became kaddish in the kli, it's like all other menachas, the sisaref, and it should get, and you have to burn it, right? It becomes like any other carbon mincha that became tum. Fine. And these, we had this a few times. We had some of these cases already. These are the ones that the carbon mincha gets burned on Tamar Aleph now, meaning that you can't, once it's in the klei sharis, then so you have to burn. If she says I'm tameh, she admits to it, right? So then obviously she's not going to drink the drink, and her carbon is no good, right? There's no point in bringing the carbon because she admitted. And Adam came that she's tameh. So we know for sure she was mezana. Now why is she not getting misa? L'chayr she's not getting misa because there were no Adam, or there were Adam, sorry, there's no hasra, right, or anything like that. But they know that the Adam came along and said that she is tameh, right? So now, when is this happening? This is talking about before they prepared the water or after, right? So we said that if even in these cases, even if they already prepared the water, right, we don't make her drink it, right? If it's only when we make her drink it is if after the water's prepared, she says she's not drinking, then we make her drink it. But in these cases, we don't make her drink it. There's no point, right? By meris any shaisa, if she says I'm not drinking, like we said, there we have to. There we said that if she says any shaisa before they did the water, right, then we don't force her. But if she's going to have to get divorced, which we'll see in the end of the Mishnah. But if it was already once they already raised Hashem's name, then she's forced to drink. Fine. So let's say the Baal doesn't want her to drink because the Baal is the one that causes her to drink. Or the husband sleeps with her when they were on their way to Yerushalayim. So those also don't drink. Okay, sorry. So that's a new thing. Then a kohen's mincha gets burnt. So Mamela, anybody that's married to a kohen, even if she's Yisrael, mincha saying the stropis, the mincha gets burnt. You're going to see in the Gemara why this is. Bas Yisrael shenissus l'kohen. If you have a Bas Yisrael that marries a kohen, minchasa, the stropis, her mincha gets burnt. That we just said. Right? The reason why it's saying it is because it's introducing the next line. But a Bas kohen who marries a Yisrael, minchasa necheles. Like everything else, whoever she's married to is what causes it. If it's a Bas Yisrael that's married to a kohen, so they should have said what they're talking about first. The way they do it, the carbon mincha, is they take the koimitz, which is like that handful, they put it onto his back, and the rest gets eaten. The rest gets eaten by the kohanim, right? But a mincha of a kohen does not, and a mincha of a kohen's wife does not. But if a Bas kohen's married to Yisrael, then it does because it's considered a Yisrael's. Fine. Then the Gemara says now it goes to the differences between men and women. First, kohanim.
No, what do you do with it? A mincha of a carbon of a kohen.
Did I just freeze?
Yeah.
No, you didn't freeze.
Didn't?
He did. No, it was him.
All right. I know. I think I did also. All right. Anyways.
Minchas HaKayin is a stam mincha that Kayin brought. It's nisrafis.
Correct. The stam mincha that a kohen brings is nisrefes. So his wife also has to be nisrefes, right? Even if his wife's a Yisrael. But if a Bas kohen marries Yisrael, then her mincha does get eaten because we don't consider her a Bas kohen because. Male and a female kohen. So minchas kohenes nechelas, the mincha of a kohenes gets eaten, meaning she's not single. She's a single one. What? She's single. Or she's married to a kohen. Well, no, she's not married to a kohen. Minchas kohen ain't a nechelas. The mincha of a kohen doesn't get eaten. Right? Which again we'll see in the Gemara. Kohenes mischalelas. A kohenes, meaning a female kohen, becomes a cholol, meaning if a kohen, if a Bas kohen marries somebody she's not supposed to marry, right? She will become a cholol. The kohen ain't mischalel, right? But a kohen, we know this from the first daf in Makkas, right? The kohen himself does not become a cholol; his kids become a cholol. Meaning, if a kohen marries a grusha, he himself is fine; his kids are not fine. Right? So a bas kohen who messes up, she becomes mischalela. She's going to be also to eat truma. A kohen, if he messes up, he himself is fine; his kids are not fine. Kehenis metama l'meisen. A female kohen could become tamei meis, vein kohen metama l'meisen, but a kohen cannot become tamei to mason. Kohen oichel b'kotche kotchim. A kohen is allowed to eat kotche kotchim. Vein kohenes oicheles kotche kotchim. And a kohenes cannot eat kotche kotchim. Okay, ma bein ish leisha. What's the difference between a stam, a man and a woman, not a kohen, right? Those are the differences between a kohen and a female kohen. What's the difference between a male and a female? Ha'ish peirei or peirim. A man when a man who has this week's pasha, right? A man who has tzaras has to let his hair grow and he also has to tear his clothing, which is really a machlokes, whether it means that no tefillin or not. Pereya. Okay, but Rashi here says he lets his hair grow and he rips his clothing. Beina isha paras as a woman does not. Right? Ha'ish madaris b'nai ben nazir. A man can make his son into a nazir. We had this obviously in nazir. Beina isha madaris b'nai nazir. Right? A woman cannot. Right? A man can make his son a nazir. It's a machlokes whether that means that he can force him to be or he just can convince him, strongly convince him. But a woman cannot. Right? But by the way, it's only when the son is a cotton. Yeah. Fine. Ha'ish megaleach al nazirus aviv. A man could take a haircut based on the nazirus of his father, which again doesn't mean a haircut. It means that the karbanos that his father, the money that his father set aside, because his father was a nazir, and then before his father had that money, his father set aside money for the karbanos that come post nazir, and he died. So a son can take that money, use it for his nazir karbanos. But a woman is not allowed to. A man can marry off his daughter, right, when she's a ketana, even without her daughter's. But a woman is not allowed to. A man can sell his daughter as a slave, right? Ayin ksubas for all these sugyas, which are also difficult to understand, but a man can sell his daughter as a slave. A woman cannot. Right? Ha'ish niskal aram, a man when he gets skila when he's naked. But a woman wears clothing. Right? Ha'ish nitla, after the skila, the man they hang him up. And a woman does not get hung. Right? Like by Haman's sons, they hung them. Right? They weren't hung. I think the Mefarshim said they weren't hung. And that's how they died. They were killed first, and then they hung them. Right? I mean, that's the norm. So a woman doesn't get hung. I'm sorry, a man, if he's a crook and he has no way to pay it back, they sell him. And a woman does not get sold. Meaning, if she has no money, then we do not sell her. Okay, so those are all the differences between the men and the woman. Fine.
Didn't we use that drasha b'gnevasai for Zomimim? It says. So didn't we use that drasha for that Adam Zomimim are not sold for as evidivri because it says b'gnei vasai.
Yeah, yeah, I think you're right. It sounds familiar. It sounds familiar. What should I tell you? I mean, sometimes we'll say we'll dash in it two ways. Sometimes we'll dash in it one way. Right? Yeah. Anyways, okay. So Zok Gemara. Yeah, Torah Rabbanan. So calling the suas l'kahuna. So this is what we meant before, that when the woman, if she's married to a kohen, so her carbon does not, the kahana can't eat the carbon. So Torah Rabbanan calling the suas l'kahuna. Anybody who's married to a kohen, min chasein l'srafis, their carbon mincha gets burned, meaning the kahana can't eat it. Ketzad, what's the case? Kahanas leviya v'Yisrael l'shenisas l'kohen. If you have a female kohen or a leviya or a Yisraelis that marries a kohen, ein min chasa nechelas. her carbon mincha does not get eaten by anybody. Why? Because the husband has a chelak in it, right? Meaning when a husband is chayshid that his wife is messing around, so he's the one that's bringing this case to the Beis Hamikdash. So he pays for the carbon. So his chelik is supposed to be burned. Right? But you can't bring it up onto the Beis Hamikdash. You can't bring it up onto the what do you call it? The mizbeach to burn it completely. Why? But she has a chelik in it. Right? Meaning she has part of the carbon because obviously she's the one that messed up. And he pays for it. So he also has a chelik in it. So it's supposed to be, so we're stuck somewhere in the middle. A Kayan's carbon mincha, like Rachman said, all carbon minchas of Kahanim get burned. So you can't, if he's the owner, you can't burn it. You cannot give it to Kahanim to eat. If she's the owner, then you do have to burn. You have to burn the kmitza. So and the rest of it. Right? So what are you doing? Right? I'm sorry, you don't burn the rest of it. Right? Right, the Kohen's carbon it gets burned even without, and again, the kmitza is the handful. I'm sorry for the confusion. The Kohen's carbon doesn't even have kmitza. You just take the carbon mincha and you put it onto mizbeach and finish. So if it's a regular Yisrael's, the Kohen takes a handful, puts that onto the mizbeach, the rest gets eaten by the kahana. You can't do that here because here it's partially a Kohen's and partially not a Kohen, so a Kohen's wife. So what do you do? So what do? You take the kaimitz and you burn it by itself. And then the shirayim, the rest of it, you burn by itself. Meaning, so you separate the kaimitz, you burn that on the mizbeach, and then you take the rest of it and you burn that on the mizbeach. That's what you have to do for the wife of a kayan's carbon mincha.
Why is that not kalo?
No, it's not on the mizbeach. It's on the base deshin, I think.
Oh, that's Gemara's no. So we're going to see right now. So the Gemara is going to ask this. Ikri Khan. So the Gemara says, why don't we read the pasuk here? As kol shu mimenu leishim, anything which is from the carbon goes on the fire, the ishim on the fire of the mizbeach. Harehu babal taktiru, but it cannot be brought. Meaning, and if you have mimenu, if you have any part of your carbon goes onto the mizbeach, which we're saying here the kaimitz does, right? The kaimitz is part of the carbon that goes onto the mizbeach. So as long as part of your carbon goes on the mizbeach, the rest of that carbon cannot be put onto the mizbeach. Right? There's an isser of bal saktiru, loy saktiru. So you can't do that. So now what? We just got finished saying that you do both. You take the best of both. You take the kmitza, right? Again, if it's a woman married to a kohen, right? You take a kmitza, you burn it on the mizbeach, and then you take the rest of it and burn it on the mizbeach. We have a pasuk that tells you cannot, leftovers from a carbon cannot be put onto a mizbeach, right? So what does it mean? So I'm Rabbi Yehuda Breder Rav Shimon ben Pazi, the masik l'shum eats him. He's got a workaround. He says we're going to treat the flour like wood, and we're not going to be burning the flour on the mizbeach like as if we're burning the animals on the mizbeach. We're saying we need wood, fuel to the fire. So mamela, the flour is acting like wood. Now, I don't know, does this work in the Metzias? Does flour, all the barbecues, does flour really, does it burn even? Or does it just put out the fire?
It flash burns. It burns very fast and very hot.
Does it? Yeah?
Yeah, it can cause huge explosions.
That's
I
sugar.
thought Parrots was the guy with the barbecue there. We gotta ask
So
Parrots.
I guess Gershon is the
Yeah, but the rest of us like to play with fire.
right. The pyromaniacs, we have the pyromaniacs now, and we have the barbecues. Right? So
I don't barbecue with flour.
well, you do, you make pizza dough.
That's not barbecue.
Now pay pizza dough on the barbecue, don't you?
Yeah, but that's
Doesn't
you know.
does it catch fire?
Imagine they put this flour and oil mixture in there, and it all went. And then they say, "Where have all the flours gone?"
Right.
All right.
Yeah,
Nobody
but
got
anyway.
it. Nobody got it. I'm sorry, Rock. It was very good.
Okay, there you go.
Didn't get it.
The old
just
chavrusas.
They're just too young.
That's I was about to say. This is an over 30 joke.
Parrots, I think you can bounce up the years. I'm sorry to tell you. Now, so basically what he's doing, Rashi says, he's doing a Tanai. He's just not putting it on there also wood. He's saying a Tanai. If they're supposed to be marked on the Mizbeach, right? So then that's what he's doing. Right? And the Kemitza was nothing. Right? And if it was supposed to have Kemitza, then this is a leftover, then it's like the wood. Right? So he basically is making a Tanai. Right? Reb Elazar, the Tani Reb Elazar, Reb Eliezer, it says you're not allowed to put it as a reach nichayach, right? You can't put it onto mizbeach to make a good smell. But you can put it on there for wood, right? So that's he's not talking about flour, right? He's talking about the what do you call it? The shiraim from the chatas. Okay, so the Gemara says, this high svara. Good. This all fits according to Rabbi Elazar, who has this svara that you can do this tonight, right? You could say if it needs to be burnt, then it's burned. If it's not, then it's wood. El Rabbanan, the less high svara, but the Rabbanan don't hold this svara, right? Then he's talking about when again, I shouldn't explain it again, but it's talking about where a carbon chatos and a carbon oilers, carbonas got mixed up, right? So Rabbi Eliezer has his eitzah. The Rabbanan say no, you have to leave it over puzzle belina, wait for it to become nicer, and that's it, right? So my ikalamemar, what are you going to say then? According to Rabbanan who don't allow, what are you going to say? It says the Abdul like Rabbi Eliezer Reb Shimon. You do it like Rabbi Eliezer Shimon. The Tani Rabbi Eliezer Shimon. Noimer hakaimetz kara ba'atzmai. The kaimetz you bring by itself. Ashirayim is pazrim al beis hadeshem. Like Racham saying, you take. You bring the kaimetz itself, and then the shirayim you spread out on the Beis Hadeshem, which is the place where they put how do you say it? That's where the ashes were, right? So that's basically how he says it. On Tommy Beis now. And even the Rabbanon don't disagree with Reb Shimon. Only by a minchas chayte of a kaihanim. Right, the karim mincha of a kain who does a chet, the bas hakravihi, because it's a carbon that's supposed to be brought, right? Ava baha, but here by the mincha of a kain, the mincha of a ashes kain, right? I feel Rabbanan Amayd, even Rabbanan Amayd Rabbi Elazar, that you would do this shtick, do the kaimitz, and then burn the rest of it on the mizbeach, right? I'm sorry, excuse me, put it on the Beis Hadeshem. Yeah. So okay, it's hard to understand this without having some sort of knowledge of Zvachim and Nachas and the rest of Kochim. Fine. Now the rest of the Amid is basically just all sources. So Bas Yisrael and Asua. So we said that a Bas Yisrael that's married to a Kain, right? My time, Adom Akrov, B'chol Minchas Kain Kalul Tia Lo Seichel. This is what we've been saying. A mincha of a kayan has to be totally eaten up, and you can't eat it. Kayan v'loy kehenes. Only a kayan's carbon, but a female kayan's carbon can be eaten by the people. So it doesn't have to be totally brought up in the on the mizbeach. Kehenes mischalelos kayan ein mischal. So kehenes, she becomes a chalelos, a kayan doesn't. Minalan damakro v'lo yichal zare b'ambo. And your kids should not become chalal on his people. Zare mischal v'hu ein mischal. His kids become chalal, but he himself doesn't. Right? And how does that teach a woman not? Right? But where is this talking about a woman? This is explaining why the kid is not. The kids don't become chalalim.
Zaroi, his kids.
I'm sorry. This explains why his kids become and he doesn't. Where do you see a woman? Right? That's all you see from here is that a kohen doesn't become a chol. This Gemara here does not say anything about her not becoming a halal. I mean, that her becoming a halal.
If we have a miyut for him, why would she be the same? We need a miyut for him, meaning all of them should become halal.
Right, and he's saying it's him and nobody else.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would say maybe him and her. Maybe it just means the parents, the perpetrators, don't have a problem, but the kids
And
do
you
have
wouldn't
a
need a
problem.
miyut.
Why? You still need the miyut.
Don't learn it as a miyut. You only know from the pasuk the zara, the children become thing. If we're using it as a miyut, it's mamayit him. It's not mamayit anyone else.
Okay. I hear. I wish I understood miyutim, right? When you make a miyut, when you don't. Okay, fine. But then the pashut shot, the Gemara doesn't seem to be discussing that. But kahanis mitama, a kahanis becomes tame. She can come tame meis. A kain can't my timer or makra. Emor la kainim b'nei Aaron. Say to the kain of b'nei Aaron. Then it says they shouldn't become tame. B'nei Aaron. The kids of Aaron and not the b'nei Aaron. How is this next week's parsha? The week after, fine. Only males can eat it. What's the difference between a man and a woman? Ish. Ish. It only tells me that an ish does this by tsaras, that grows the hair long and tears the clothing. Isha minayin. It says that tzarua that's in him, hare kan shnayim. Right? It says that's two. Right? Why does it say about tzarua? From the word tzarua, it says it twice. So it sounds like it's talking about two different people that have tzaras. Same came out ish. If it's saying tzarua twice, so it means a male and a female. So why are you also saying ish? Linin shalamata. So it's going for what it was discussing in the end of the parsha. Ish pereya. So it means only a man lets his hair grow and a woman does not. Fine. Ish madras b'noy mid nazir. Ve'ena isha madras b'no nazir. All right, so a man can make his son who's less than bar mitzvah into a nazir, woman can't. Like you said, everything else by nazir was halacha l'moshe misina. We said that a man can use the money from his father's karbanas for nazir if he dies. It's halacha l'moshe misina. I gave my daughter to this man. A man could sell his daughter. A woman can't. It says when the man does it. A man gets skila when he's naked. My timer, and they stone him. My oisai. If it says you stone him and not her, it says ishahu. So you do take out the woman for skila. Ella oisai beloy ksusa. We take him out without his clothing. Beloy oisai beloy ksusa. And not her without her clothing. Ish nitla, right? The man we hang and the woman we don't. Ve'end my time. I'm a crab. To Lisa, I say Allah hates. I say below. I saw you hang her and not him. Ish nimka b'gnevasa. Ve'ena ish nimkeres b'gnevasa. Right? A man gets sold if he doesn't have money and he steals, and a woman doesn't. My time. I'm a crab. Nimka b'gnevasa. He gets sold for his gneva. B'gnevasa below b'gnevasa. For his and not hers. All right, there you go. Those are all drushes. Fine. Hadron Allah chayanaito. L'chaim, and everybody should have themselves a good Chodesh and a good Shabbos.
This week. This week.
I'm by Rabbi Grona this week.
So what time are they davening tonight?
6:45. I told you 6:45 for the rest of the
6:45, right? 6:45, right? Okay, yeah, you told me last week.
When did the Shir Motzi Shabbos?
What did we say?
He posted it.
9:20.
All the way at 9:20.
Oh, okay.
All right, I got a lot. All right, have yourselves a fine Shabbos.
A good Shabbos, a good Chodesh.
You too.
Aaron, I'm glad you caught it.
I got it. And not one of these other people was in love with Joni Mitchell also. Take care.